Hey, my friends, this is Bill MacDonald, the Common Sense Math Doctor. This video is for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade math teachers. If you have a job, you understand that you get paid either on a salary basis, so much a month directly, so much a year, so much every week, or you get paid by the hour. And so even though millions of people have jobs that get paid by the hour, only 18% of the students in Texas in 6th grade knew how to take a number that was the amount of hours that somebody worked and multiply that by the amount the person made per hour. So since hours are not the same as dollars, we already know those keywords are different. And when keywords are different, according to my mathematics chart, we either multiply or divide. So if you want to find out how much you made for all the hours, you got to find out how much you make for each hour for one. So we're looking for a big total. So we're in this case, we're going to multiply. Let me tell you real quickly why I think students struggle with this. Number one, again, it was an open-ended response. And so the kids had no way to check the response. So once again, more and more this year, remove the answer choices or have your kids cover them up, work out the problem in math, and then check one by one the answer choices to see if it matches up so they can start building that confidence. Now, the second thing was that the amount of hours worked was in one language and the amount of money that the person was getting paid for per hour was in a different language. And so until we're speaking the same language, the numbers won't be able to communicate with each other. So if you give me a fraction of an hour, you have to first change fractions to a decimal by doing something else that starts with the D, dividing. And then once you find your answer, when you find out how to figure out how much money you make in order to get the correct amount of money in dollars, you've got to change what starts out as pennies by moving it one place to find out how many dimes that is, and two places to find out how many dollars that is. And so the easiest way is just to look at the number and how many numbers did you decide are to the right of the decimal. That's how many numbers, how many positions percent that you'll move back to the left once you're done with your final product. So that second answer is kids might have done the correct multiplication, but they did not know how to put the decimal in the right place, which got them the incorrect answer. Another thing that I noticed, there was a zero that we could eliminate before we begin working on the problem to save an extra step, because the more steps you have, the easier it is to make mistakes. So if only 18% of 6th graders are getting this correct, it means they didn't learn the foundation of the relationship between mixed numbers, which we talked about in our last video, and how to change a mixed number that has a fraction, the fraction portion of it, to a decimal, and then how to change decimals to percent, per cent, per hundred, how much money out of 100, how many dollars and cents is that going to be. So let's take a look at it so I can help you help your students. And again, this is a way, not the way, to teach this question. It was question number 33 on the 6th grade test. It was a readiness category 2. 6.3E was the category. Okay. How much money did Jada earn last week? Well, we have to know two things. Are you getting paid by a salary, which would have been easy, just look and see how much they give her per week, or are you getting paid by the hour, which is what we see here. So as you notice, no multiple choice. So we've got to say, oh, hey, here's one language, 21 and 11 hours that I worked last week, if my name is Jada, and I earned $11.60 per hour of work. And is the decimal 21 and 1/2. And so it's 21 point something. You take the next hour and divide it into 2 equal parts, you would get 0.5, 5/10 of the next hour, or 50 hundredths of the next hour. So your kids have to learn how to do that so that they can say, my keywords are different, hours and dollars, money. So I've got to multiply to find out how much money I earned for all of those hours that I worked. So I'm going to use my mathematics chart to show you, since she made $11.60 per hour, the easiest thing, because the zero is not necessary when you're multiplying whole numbers and decimals, when the zeros are at the end of the number, we're going to remove that step. $11.06 for every hour that she works, times 21.5, which is 0.5. Half of another hour is 5/10 of an hour. So when we look over here at my opposite side, 5/10 of an hour, when you divide, is 0.5. So we'll set up our multiplication symbol, times, multiply, product, cool. And so this first step is to think of these bottom numbers as Spider Boy, Spider Woman, and Spider Man. And they climb buildings. And we'll just pretend like superheroes, especially spider heroes, are right-handed. We're going to climb always to the right first and then climb back down the buildings so that we don't get confused about how to do this. Okay, we're going to ignore the decimals for now. We'll put them in at the end, and I'll show you an easy way to help your kids understand that. All right, step 1, we're multiplying by something in the ones, in the what we'll call the ones place. Okay, 5 times 6 is 30. I carry the 3. Come back down the building. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 3 that you carried is 8. Climb back down the building. 5 times 1, and I'm making little webs in my mind to the next number. 5 times 1 is 5, no carry, so I just put the 5. Then we can play a game that I'll call tic-tac-toe. Tick, put an X, tack, put an O, and toe, cross off any carry that you happen to have, so that when you multiply in the next position, since 1 is in the tens place, we start in the tens place and make sure that we don't start over here in the ones. We're going to call for now the ones place. Again, go to the right. 1 times 6 is 6. Come back down. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1 again. No carries, but we can still play tick, tack, tack, or we can say Tick, because I'm done with the one. Tack, because I'm not using the ones place. Toe, cross off the carries. And tack, put your 0 again here because we're now going to be using the number in the, what we'll call for now, the hundreds place. Again, go to the right. 2 times 6 is 12. You'll carry your 1, come back down. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the one you carried is 3. Come back down. And 2 times 1 is 2. So the answer preliminary is 24940. What is that? 24,940. Now, if your kids did not know how to convert what they have here into decimals, the easiest step is to show them how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. 1 here and 1 here. So you move 1 here and 1 here. So the answer is $249.40. But I want to show you something that will help your kids understand the concept of this. The first answer is 24,940 if you're talking about pennies. If you move the decimal one place, it would be 2,494, 2,494 if you're talking about dimes, what we'll call the tenths place. But since we were talking about dollars, money, how much money they made in dollars, we've got to move the decimal to that second position. It's $249, our keyword, and 40 cents. So that's my final answer. Now, this is my mathematics chart. And so the way that we have our final answer here, that's what it would look like on the grid. Okay. Let's say you don't have the ability to use that. Let's look at it again using just a piece of graph paper, which students are allowed to ask for. Remember, they worked for 21 and 1/2 hours. I want to take that fraction and change it to a decimal. Then let's divide. 1 hour divided into 2 equal parts is 0.55 tenths. Okay, so 21.5. And so because hours and dollars are different, we have to multiply. And the same thing that I did on the mathematics chart, I did here. And I've got my decimals in there. And so we have to decide once we're done, that's how many pennies that we have. So when we're done, when we want to find out percent, we've got to change the position because that's 24,940 pennies. Move it one position. 2,494 dimes, or in dollars, we have $249.40, which was the final answer. And the last reason that I think that students struggle is that in 6th, 7th, and grade and less, we're not allowed to use one of these. I call this a calculator. Why? Because if we use a calculator too much right now to do computations, instead of using paper, we're going to rely so heavily on the calculator that we're going to get calculator. Yes, we can do this very quickly. I'm even going to do $11.60 per hour times, notice that it changed it to 11.6 like I had. It says I don't need that 0. 21 and 1/2 hours times 21.5 equals 249.4. So your students could either put 249.4 and the Scantron, the computer would mark it correctly, or $249.40. From my understanding, both answers would be correct. I don't think that their students, maybe to be safe, since we are talking about money, it would be better to teach them to make sure we're not going to put a dollar sign on the grid, but we are going to put the 249. And what you can do is teach your kids to circle the numbers in groups of 3, and then the decimal, we can say 249. Then we'll say what all decimals stand for, and it would be 4 dimes, or 4 dimes is the same thing as 40 cents. So that's one way to solve it. Actually, two, because I showed you using, for a lot of you who already have my, mathematics chart, either the primary for 3rd grade and less, or you have the advanced one for 4th grade and higher. So if you have nothing but a piece of graph paper on the test, then it's important that your kids use that so that they can line up their ones, places, and their decimals at the end. We'll make sure that we move from fraction to a decimal by dividing, and decimal percent to percent by moving the position of the decimal when we're done, based on how many numbers are to the right of the decimal when we're multiplying. Thank you, guys. Share this with your teacher friends. Good luck this year, and we'll see you on our next video. It's going to be a teacher request about integers and how I would solve them. So it also happens to be a 6th grade question. So as soon as I finish uploading this one, you should see that one today. I'm going to be using a deck of cards because life is colorful until sometimes we get into a classroom on a piece of paper where it's just black and white. So I'm going to not use a worksheet. I'm going to use a sheet that works. That's one of my math friends used to say. And sometimes the best sheets that work are not on paper. They're using manipulatives, using something that's not on a sheet of paper. So share this video or tag one of your math teacher friends in 5th, 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade if you feel like your kids would benefit from it. I have my home office, so whether I'm working online from home or I'm working at the office, that the question had to do with getting paid hourly and how many hours that you worked to get that pay. So take care. Have a great day.